Matt, the coalition was riding high in the polls just a few months ago, but there's been a steady drop since then. Why do you think that is?
Look, I have no idea, Peter. I would say at the outset, though, that the changes in the polls are so small as to be almost insignificant. I know you've got a job to do, Peter, and you've got to earn your crust every day and want to report on these things like the polls are some kind of oracle from ancient Greece. But
often they're right. They're a snapshot of where people are thinking.
The underlying reality of these numbers, all these numbers show is that it's very, very close. That's all they show.
So you're not worried about it?
We have never been way in the lead. Sorry?
You're not worried about it?
Sorry. Well, I just think it's close. I mean, I think we've got to fight for every vote. I think this election is up for grabs. I think the people viewing your show hopefully realise that their vote really matters, that talking to their friends and neighbours really matters, because this election could go either way. It's absolutely on a knife edge. It has been on a knife edge for really the last 12 to 18 months, ever since the Prime Minister wasted $300 million of your taxes on The Voice. It's been very, very close. So it could go either way. Our job, of course, is to put our policies forward, show that we've got a plan, a better plan for the Australian people. As I constantly say, what this government's offering is more of the same. Their budget last week was more of the same spending, more of the same green subsidies, more of the same mass migration. I don't think that the same is going to cut it for Australia. It hasn't been working that well, I don't think. So the only way to get a change is to change the government.
So in an election campaign, even small moments matter. So this may have been an offhanded remark when asked on radio yesterday, but critics have seized on it anyway. The opposition leader claiming that he'd moved to Kirribilli instead of the Lodge in Canberra. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about it?
I mean, who cares? I mean, the Prime Minister could live in the back of Burke for all I care, as long as he does a good job. I mean, isn't that what matters ultimately? So I think the current Prime Minister is not doing a very good job. We've had record inflation. We've had a record drop in living standards. We've had a complete loss of control of our borders, with huge number of people arriving without houses to live in. So who cares what house the Prime Minister is living in when many Australians don't have a house themselves to live in? Who cares what house the Prime Minister is living in when people can't even afford to keep the lights on in their own home? So that's what's much more important to me. Who really
Let's get back to some policy now, and in particular energy policy. There's been some criticism from a big South Korean LNG exporter from Australia this morning. So I wanted to get you on the gas reservation policy, because I was reading about 5 years ago last night when you were Resources Minister. You headed up a move to reserve gas on the East Coast to replicate that system in the West. Why didn't it happen then?
Well, our reservation scheme was prospective at the time. The idea was when things like Narrabri came online, the Beetaloo Basin came online, we would reserve a certain amount of that gas for Australian use. It was the first time the Australian government had established a reservation policy. Now, the problem has been under this government that we haven't developed new sources of gas. Narrabri continues to remain mirrored in the courts. The Beetaloo Basin has received no support from this government. They've tried to change the Middle Arm development in the Darwin port to some kind of hydrogen fantasy, which is
So does this all point to complications about getting it done in the future?
You can't reserve. When you try to reserve new gas sources and you're not producing new gas, you get zero. 15%, 20% of zero is still zero. So we have to obviously change tack now, and that's why Peter Dutton has announced another policy which is sensible and reasonable. It will not stop our contracted exports, including those to South Korea, but it would free up a little bit of gas to help take some pressure off for Australian households as well.
Okay, appreciate it, Matt, as always. We'll talk again soon.